Okay, well, obviously I screwed up here. I'm trying to paint a yellow house in pre-dawn darkness with a porch light on. So the only place you're going to actually, you should only see the actual yellow of the house exterior would be down here on this back wall here underneath the porch, the back porch. And this was just supposed to be that color in darkness. I had every opportunity. I had everything mixed. I had the yellow, the original yellow. Then I had a very dark, warm gray that I mixed up, which I'm going to remix and show you now. And I didn't add enough gray. It was just too yellow. Anyway, good thing about oil paint is you can take one of these and just scrape the old paint off. So that speeded up the drying process. So now I'm going to remix the yellow and the gray and hopefully a darker, more realistic yellow house in shadow. Okay, I mix everything from the primaries. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that's my method. I'm always trying to learn how to mix paint rather than just squirt them out of the tube. I'm not going to need a lot of paint because there's just that one area of the house. But this is the plan. First I'm going to mix the gray, which means I need to start with a blue and a brown. Blue and brown make great grays. You can make them warm, you can make them cool depending on. But in order to make the blue and the brown, I have to mix up a brown first. So I'm going to do that. Guess what? In order to mix a brown, my favorite kinds of brown are mixed with red and green. So before I can mix the brown, which will then be used to mix the gray, I have to mix a green. Following that? So I'm first going to start to mix a green. Any second grader can tell you how you make green. Blue and yellow, yes, correct. So start with that. You want it to be a dark green like this. The darker the green, the darker the eventual gray will be. There we go, that works. I'm going to use all of this. Okay, next is brown. Brown is red and green. I'm not going to use a lot of red. This is cadmium red medium. And it can take over if you let it. I'm not going to let it because I'm after a very dark brown. Cool brown. Like that. It's almost an olive green. In fact, it is an olive green. Gotta add more red. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put that off to the side because I don't think I'm going to be using all of it. But I'm going to mix that with that, brown with blue, to get a gray. I forgot to squirt out some white so I can tell what that gray is. Oof. All my oil paint are Gamblin, by the way. It's my company of choice. They're not very expensive, but you can trust them. If I take a little bit off, a little bit of that. You can see it's a very neutral gray. It's not cool, it's not warm, it's right in the middle, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, so there's my gray. Just gonna put him over there. I'm going to clean my palette knife, my painting knife. And I'm going to mix my yellow. This is cadmium lemon. I prefer cadmium lemon over cadmium yellow medium. It's just not as intense. I like it. Adding a little bit of white to it. A little bit of extra, whatever that extra little stuff is in there. A little more white. And that's the yellow of the house, and I'm going to make it dark now. Take most of it, put it back here. I'm going to add a lot of this. That noise you hear is a neighbor of mine who has this little scooter, and he goes to the local convenience store, which is only a block and a half away, all the time. Like he'll buy one item, scoot back home, then about 4 hours later, he's back on his scooter, going to buy something else. Okay, that is dark, but it's too green. So I'm going to add just a little bit of brown to it. Maybe a little more. One thing I heard often when I was at the Beverly Street Studio School taking some adult oil painting studio classes there from the professors was, you're probably going to spend more time mixing colors on your palette than actually painting with them. And it's kind of true. You have to get these colors right here so that when you apply it to the canvas, it works. And that's what I didn't do yesterday. So we're going to try that and see if that works. That's not dark enough for that shadow underneath the eave there, for the gable end. There's got to be some indication of a shadow there where the general pre-dawn light isn't hitting. So, don't like that. I am going to scrape it off. And do it again. Much better. Probably going to come back later and make this dark blue underneath the eave darker, less blue, more violet. You're seeing less of it on this side than on that side because that side has a little bit more perspective going. I'm not going to be painting any shingles or clapboards. I'm just going to use solid color. Interestingly painted solid color, hopefully. Underneath the shutters. These shutters will be painted a very dark green. Okay, now over here, see that used to be the really dark one, but I need to replace that with this. I'm also going to be going over these porch posts because right now they're just kind of wonky. Okay, I think I'm on the right track. I'm kind of scumbling this part so that this color has an opportunity to show through. Give the house just a little bit of life here. I think that's better. I'll let that dry and then I'll deal with the shutters and work on the shadows a little bit better.